All right, tonight's lesson, Subjects in Unusual Order, lesson 1.7 in the grammar book. This lesson is going to be tricky. It covers a lot of different things, so you may want to follow along in your textbook on page 18, and you might want to replay the video as well. The first thing we're going to do is review lesson 1.6, the different kinds of sentences. So you have a declarative, which makes a statement. It's a nice day outside. Today is Tuesday. Interrogative asks a question, pretty basic. An imperative gives a command, shut the door, open your book. And exclamatory shows strong feeling. So today, and this is right from your book on page 18 where it says, here's the idea. In most declarative sentences, the subject comes before the verb or the predicate. She went to the store. These are basic sentences, no problem there. Now, in some kinds of sentences, however, subjects can come between verb parts, follow the verbs, it means comes after the verbs, or not appear at all. So we're going to break that down a little bit more simpler and see if this can make sense to everybody. So let's look at questions first, interrogative sentences. When your subject comes after the verb or between verb parts of the verb phrase. So example, are you walking to school today? What is the subject? What is the verb? So to determine the subject, turn the question into a statement. You are walking to school today. So you would answer the question from lesson 1.1. Who or what is the sentence about? It's about you. And what about it? What about you? You are walking. That's your verb phrase or predicate. Okay, so you're going to have to take things apart, change the words around to figure out the subjects or the verbs. Imperative sentences, commands. The subject of the command is usually you. Now, often you doesn't appear because it's implied or assumed. If I looked at a student and said, close the door, they would know that I was talking to them, so the sentence would be you. I don't have to say you close the door. Okay, so who is the sentence about? It's about you. What are you doing or going to do? Close the door. And then inverted sentences. Well, what does inverted mean? Inverted means reversed. Sentences in a way that we don't usually speak this way. Writers usually use inverted sentences for emphasis to get their point across. So this is when the subject comes after the verb. And again, you really need to ask yourself these questions. What is the sentence about? Or who or what is the sentence about? And what about them? What are they doing? So these types of sentences are rare, but they're still out there. They still exist, so we need to learn about them. So example, and this is from your textbook, the bridge extends across the East River. Who or what is the sentence about? It's about the bridge. What about the bridge? What does it do? It extends. Okay, that's our normal sentence. Now inverted, across the East River extends the bridge. Now this is where some people would say, well, the subject would be East River. And what does the East River do? It extends. No, it doesn't. A river, we're talking about the bridge. We're not talking about the East River. Okay? So that's where you would really could get confused and really could get caught up in this. If you said, well, it's about the river, and what does the river do? It extends. Nope, we're talking about the bridge. So find the verb first. The verb is extends. Who or what extends? The bridge. If you're a Star Wars fan, I call this Yoda speech, if you've ever heard Yoda talk. All right, and then the last one is sentences beginning with here or there. To find the subject, look for the verb, and then ask the question to find the subject. Ooh, big typo there. Find the subject, who or what. So, like I've been saying, look for the verb first. Example, there is the new book. What's the verb? Is. Who or what is? The book is. Okay, example, here comes the bus. What is the verb? Comes. Who or what comes? The bus. Let's review all of that. Actually, what I want you to do is to create your own chart. So to help review, complete a chart in your notebook that covers everything you learned in this lesson. And here's an example of what I'm looking for. You could have the topic, questions, commands, inverted sentences here and there. Those are all the things I just went over with you. And then a hint, how would you know how to find the subject and the verb in questions, subject comes after the verb or between the phrase. If there is a verb phrase, an example, have you heard the new song? You would have to be able to find the subject and the verb in that sentence. Yours could look different if you wanted to. Otherwise, I'm looking for something like this tomorrow. You don't have to write a certain amount of sentences. I would just like to see something like this on your paper so that you could quickly refer to it on a test or on a quiz. So again, just come up with a way that would review this lesson. It could be this chart just like I have. It could be something else if you want to get really creative. So good luck and have a great night. We'll talk more about this tomorrow and go over it a little bit more in depth with some more sentences and questions to review. So if you're confused, that's okay. We went over a lot tonight, so just bear with me and see what you can come up with, and we'll talk more tomorrow. Have a great night.